So come back to your motivation of kindness for other living beings. And that feeling of kindness and compassion trigger in you the enthusiasm to practice the path until the end, to purify our minds completely, so that the kindness and compassion can flourish in the best way and have the strongest impact. So I think all of us have kind hearts, and all of us want to be of benefit to others. And then we have to ask ourselves what interferes with that kind heart and that wish to be of benefit. Yeah, when you look at yourself, I mean, you can feel your own wish for the goodness and the well-being of others. And then what is it that prevents you from acting on that?
Self-preoccupation. The eye that's walking around with legs.
This body that's walking around?
The eye.
The eye, yeah. So here we have two things, the self-centered thought and the self-grasping ignorance. And, we can really begin to see it in our lives, because there's this feeling of wanting to be a benefit, and then we start to be a benefit, and then what comes up? Yeah, what about me? If I give this, then I won't have that. If I let them have their way, then it's unfair and I lose out. If I acknowledge their good qualities, then it really means they're better than me and I'm a loser. All these kind of thoughts, they come one right after the other, don't they? Yeah, just uncontrollably. I mean, it's not like we have to sit down and generate self-centeredness. These thoughts just, and they're only thoughts, but they get in the way of what our deepest heartfelt wish is. And then the problem is we believe these thoughts. Yeah, so not only do we have them, but we grasp onto them. We hold them. These are true. Yeah, and so we see how our own mind self-sabotages our own deepest wish. Mm-hmm. And then the eye with the two legs who's walking around supports the whole, it's the foundation of the whole thing. And says, I'm here, You can't dismiss me. I'm the basic thing that exists in the universe. And life is all about protecting me and, making it sure that I hold up this facade that I really exist. Yeah. So we do all these things that hold up that facade, and yet, when we sit down to contemplate for a moment or two, what in the world is this I that we're thinking is so essential to life? It kind of evaporates. And then we go, it evaporates kind of on one level, and then, we grasp it again. So, retreat is about working on these two things, doing something about it, and recognizing that we're coming from a place of kindness in our own hearts. Yeah, that's there and a good intention is there. And then we have these things that are obscuring it. You know? And so seeing it like that, it helps us realize, no, we're based in, you know, we have something good going for us already. It's not like we're totally empty slates, but we have to clear this stuff away, and we have to enhance what's already there and build it up and make it firmer and more stable. Okay, so the refuge and practice, you know, it's actually quite a profound practice that it takes you a while to realize how profound it is. Yeah, because I remember years ago when I did it, Namo Guruvya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya. How many have I counted already? Namo Guruvya, Namo Buddhaya. Oh, was that the end of the mala, the beginning of the mala? How long is it going to take me to finish this? You know, that was kind of my mentality when I first did it. And then His Holiness, you know, when you hear him speak about the Dharma, he's constantly emphasizing true cessations and saying, you know, the Dharma, which is the real refuge, is true cessations and true paths. And he says it again and again and again. And, oh yeah, true cessations, true paths, yeah, what else is new? But to really sit and think about that, what is true cessations? What are true cessations? You know, what is the ultimate true cessation of non-abiding nirvana? And to come back to that, you know, true cessations are emptiness. Yeah, they're emptiness. And so what does that mean? Yeah, and we begin to see how the realization of emptiness is the core of the whole practice of refuge. You know, because it's the true cessation, which is our ultimate object of attainment, the non-abiding nirvana that doesn't abide in samsara, doesn't abide in personal peace. Okay, that's the thing that we're really aimed for. And then to realize that refuge and bodhicitta are really not that different. That it seems at the beginning of every practice we take refuge, then we generate bodhicitta. And okay, refuge is the direction we're going in. Bodhicitta is the reason we're going there. But in another way, refuge, you know, when you take Mahayana refuge, it means bodhicitta. And when you generate bodhicitta, it means refuge. Yeah, because if you have bodhicitta, what is your ultimate object of attainment? That non-abiding nirvana, which is the ultimate Dharma refuge. And then the path to get there, yeah, which includes the minds that realize emptiness, but also the bodhicitta. And then when you take refuge, if you're really set on, you know, attaining non-abiding nirvana, then you realize you have to generate bodhicitta. Okay, so that if you're taking resultant refuge, the causal refuge is in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha that already exists. Resultant refuge is the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha that we're going to become. If we're taking that resultant refuge, then it implies we've got to generate bodhicitta. And when we generate bodhicitta, it's implying that we're aiming for that non-abiding nirvana. Okay? You getting what I'm saying? That these two are kind of coming to the same point in there, that they're not really that different, like we sometimes make them. So, although taking refuge is a Ngondro, which is commonly called a preliminary practice, meaning it's preliminary to doing a great retreat, it's actually quite a profound practice in and of itself. Because when you do it, it's going to make you think of the entire path. Yeah? Okay? And remember in Buddhism, one teacher, many traditions, we went through that argument that Nagarjuna made in the treatise about how the fact that phenomena are dependent arising is the reason that proves the existence of the three jewels. Go back and review that. It's in the book, but it's really quite profound. And when you realize that, then when you're taking refuge, boy, you really are considering the whole path. And in doing that, proving to yourself that the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha actually exist, and understanding what their qualities are and why it's important to take refuge in them. Okay? So there's a lot in there to think about when you're doing the Refuge Ngondro. So it's not really about counting the numbers. In any case, a month is like plenty of time to do the numbers. And you don't even have to do the numbers if you don't want to, okay? But the main thing is really try to get the mind into the depth of what refuge is talking about and the depth of what bodhicitta is talking about. Yeah, and to actualize that in our own minds. Okay, and so, so that really it ties so many things together. Because you're meditating on emptiness, you're meditating on bodhicitta, and then you're saying, but if all these sentient beings whose benefit I'm working for are empty of true existence, then whose benefit am I working for? And then you have to come back to meditate on dependent arising, and how dependent arising is the meaning of emptiness, and emptiness is the meaning of dependent arising. And, it's just like one thing unfolds into the other. Yeah. So you shouldn't get bored in doing this practice, okay? Having said that, then, of course, our usual self-centered thoughts and what about me is going to be popping up and creating a ruckus and saying, refuge, refuge, chocolate is refuge. Yeah, running down the hill from this place is refuge. I can't stand it anymore here. I need some sunshine. I'm going to Florida. Yeah, and we begin to see what our usual objects of refuge are, Because Lama Leshe used to tell us, he said, taking refuge is not something new and unfamiliar. You're taking refuge all the time, dear. It's just you're taking refuge in the things that aren't very good objects of refuge. And so you'll see that aplenty. Yeah? And all the things that your mind will get fed up about and think that, something else is really the key to happiness. Yeah? And this is the benefit of doing a retreat. Now, somebody commented that being at the Abbey in the winter is very different than being here in the summer. You're here in the summer, there's lots of people, there's lots of conversation, there's lots of things to do, we're busy, there's sunshine, we're having a good time. In the winter, there's fog and clouds. The snow is actually quite beautiful, I think, But the fog, the clouds, the short days, not the long winter nights, the short days. And then when you're in retreat, there's no guests coming. So it's fine at the beginning because, everybody just came, it's so nice, so many new people. And then the retreat starts and it's the same people. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's the same schedule nearly all of the days. And the food seems like it's exactly the same every day. And then you really you're in silence, but you really get to know the people. Yeah. This is the one that burps in the meditation hall. This is the one that farts in the meditation hall. This is the one who coughs in the meditation hall. This is the one who can't, for the life of them, arrive on time, ever. They're always late. Yeah. This is the one, we had this great in one of our early retreats. The one with the, what was this jacket made out of? Like a nylon kind of thing. So sitting in, every time he moved, that crunch, crunch, crunch. And then he would get too hot in the middle of it, and zip, and crunch. And, so this is the one with the nylon jacket. Yeah. And then this is the one who, can't stay with their legs cross-legged for the life of them. They're always like, this, around, and this and that, And this is the one that's always too cold, that puts the blanket around them, that, wants to go turn up the heater, and don't dare touch the heater, any of you, because it messes it up. But you're freezing and you want to go touch the heater because it's so cold and you can't stand it. And then there's the other person in the meditation hall who is so hot they can't bear it. They're taking off everything. And it's like, can't we open a window here? And so, that person goes up and cracks the window a little bit. Then the freezing person goes and closes the window. Yeah. And then the other person, keeps the curtain in the back open a little bit. Let's get some cool air in here. Then the other person closes the curtain. Yeah. Okay. Then there's the person with their papers. Oh, don't you love it? There's two, it's the practice is on 2 sheets of paper. Yeah, so there's that person. Then there's the person who has their tablet. I'm not supposed to read. I'm not supposed to write. But they're all in samadhi. So there's that person. Okay. Oh, yes, and then there's the person with their mala. Click, 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 click. So the person who's falling asleep in the hall and, kind of... It's true, isn't it? Yeah. All of this is... Yeah. And then we have the counters now for people who want them. The little, we brought them home. Yeah, they're in the Dharma things room. Oh, we'll bring them into the Dharma room. Okay. So then you have your little clicker. It's not... Okay. Yeah. So you're doing it, and you're counting it. But then, oh gee, did I count 2? Or, no, I should have counted more. How many do I have? I wonder how long that battery's going to last. If it runs out when I'm at 75,000, and I don't know, then I've had it, you know. So there's that. Okay. Or the person who's using their mala and clicking it, and then they have the 2 little jars of beans under their table, and then they kick the jars of beans, rolls all over. Okay. Then there's the person who stuffs all their dirty tissue under their seat, you know, and you're thinking, I used to prostrate and have my nose in that place with their snot on the carpet. Yeah. So you have that person. Then you have the person to whom who's gotten smarter and taken a plastic bag to put all their dirty tissues in. But the plastic bag, you know, zip, you know, put it together and, you know, and gee, I gotta stuff more tissues in. It's really full. Yeah, so then all these people who, you know, you think are so wonderful when you first come to the Abbey, then they really grate on your nerves, you know, because you cannot stand these habits that they have, you know, and I just cannot stand, I mean, they have these, I can't stand it, you know, this mala clicking, this flinging, this jacket, I can't stand it, I'm going crazy. I've got to get to Florida where there's some sunshine. How can I do that? They said I'm not supposed to go online even though I have my tablet here, but I can lock myself in the bathroom and book a ticket. Then how am I going to get to the airport? I can't ask the neighbors down the road because the Abbey owns the property now. Yeah. And then when I'm in Florida, I'll lie on the beach and have chocolate. Yeah. And dream of my boyfriend. Of course, he hasn't shown up yet, but dreams are better than the real thing, as we know. Yeah. So, yeah. And then it's lunchtime. Yeah. And although we're all supposed to focus on our own bowl's rather boring. Let's see. What was she having? She has something in her bowl that wasn't put out on the table that I don't have. How did she get that? She was the cook today. That's how she got it. I want some of that too. Yeah. And the gluten-free stuff they put out looks so good today. Why doesn't the rest of the food look as good? I think I'm going to be gluten-free from now on. And then when you're gluten-free, the rest of the food looks so good. Yeah. Why do they always give me these scraps? Always I get tofu. Yeah. And then boiled vegetables again. Where's the Tabasco sauce? Yeah. And then let's check out someone else's. Her bowl is full to the top. No wonder she's so fat. Actually, she goes before me in line, so that's why there's nothing left for me. And then, what's that one doing? That one slurps. Oh, God. Didn't their mother teach them any manners? They're... Yeah. Remember when Usuke was here? He told us in Japanese culture, you're supposed to slurp. It shows that you enjoy the food. And then, everybody's manners. This one has their elbow on the table. This one has their nose in the bowl. They're sitting like this around their bowl. Don't they realize that's what you do when you're in prison? Well, we are in prison here. I can't go out anywhere. So this comes up all during retreat. Okay? So retreat is the perfect time to work on this kind of stuff. Because where's this stuff coming from? Yeah, it's coming from here, isn't it? And here. It's not coming from the outside person. Yeah, because chances are we do exactly what we're criticizing the other person for doing. So we have to look inside, why do I find these things so intolerable? Why are they driving me crazy? Yeah. What am I going to have in Florida that I don't have here? Well, then I can play music. Yeah, that's just what I need. Bang, 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 Yeah, is that going to make me happy? Yeah. Then I can go to Burger King. Ugh. Yeah. Oh, Starbucks, that's better. Yeah. When all the Sangha leaves the Abbey, they all head to Starbucks en masse. Not our Sangha, the other Sangha, the visiting Sangha. They all go to Starbucks. So, it's a chance, like, why? Here I am, I have the perfect time to meditate on kindness and compassion and emptiness, and my mind is going crazy. Yeah, it's just going crazy with all this stuff. And then you think, oh, well, Venerable Chuni said to take out this sheet. It's none of these, it's the other person. They've got to change. It's not my fault. And eventually you get tired enough of being miserable that you kind of take a closer look and say, well, maybe it does have something to do with my mind. So you get past that. Yeah. And then it's, what am I doing with the rest of my life? I love the Dharma. I love the Dharma. But what am I really doing in my life? Am I practicing the Dharma? I need to have more teachings. Let's see. I can go to Deer Park in the summer. I can go to His Holiness in the winter. There's this really fantastic retreat in Australia. I'll go there. There's another retreat in Italy. I'm going to do all these virtuous things and practice Dharma. And so you take out in your mind your whole year-long schedule, and you schedule all the Dharma practice you're going to do in the future, and all the retreats you're going to do in the future. Right? Yeah. So you're spending your retreat time now planning for the future, but not planning for the future life. Yeah. And should I ordain? Shouldn't I ordain? Should I ordain? I'm already ordained, but I miss Mommy. I'm ordained, but I miss Mommy. I want Mommy and Daddy. No, I don't want Mommy and Daddy. They make me sick sometimes. Oh, but I'm going to have compassion for all sentient beings, and the Buddha said to take care of your parents, and I miss them. Maybe I should disrobe and go take care of Mommy and Daddy. So you go through that, and then you go through, should I have a baby? Okay, I'm going on 60, but but it's never too late, Even if I don't have my own, we can adopt. That would be nice. And lots of single people adopt now. Then I have my own baby. My own baby. Somebody that loves me. That I love always. Until they become a teenager. But we'll procrastinate on that. Yeah? So you go through that. Okay. And then the mind, we have a very creative mind, don't we? Yeah. Oh, but before I have a baby, maybe it's good to get married. My high school boyfriend, what happened to him? Which high school boyfriend? I had 10 of them. Okay, there was Harry, there was Richard, that was his name. Yeah, I was having a senior moment. Yeah, so Harry was the first one. Then there was Richard. Then there was Steve. I wonder what happened to Steve. Then there was Bill. I remember Bill. Then there was Chris. Oh, yeah. And then there was Bobby, but I didn't like him so much as a boyfriend. He was just... And then there was... And then this one and that one. And then I went traveling, and where did I travel? Oh yeah, I went to Florida, but there were lots of places better than Florida. Yeah, I went to Holland, I went to Algeria. Oh, we had this adventure in Algeria. I should really tell the group about it sometime. That was a real one when the police hauled us in. I haven't told you that story yet. Yeah, then we went to Tunisia. We skipped Libya, thank goodness. Yeah. Then, I went here and I went there. Yeah. And you replay your whole life, the travel log, and everywhere you've been, everybody you've met. Yeah. And then, Namo Guruvya, Namo Buddhaya. We're off in La La Land somewhere, taking refuge in, what is it called, Memory Lane? Yeah, we've been in Memory Lane, our object of refuge. Then other days we obsess about lunch, And then, of course, we can't stand the room we're in. Yeah. Why am I in this room? I know they built a new building. Why couldn't they build it the right way, with a room made just for me, private, own bathroom, kettle in the room with enough tea? Yeah, I don't want a roommate. But then you're alone in a room. I'm so lonely, I want a roommate. Oh, I don't want a roommate. This is it. So this is what you'll have to work with. Good luck. But I think it's very helpful if you keep returning back to, I have kindness and compassion in my heart, and I really want to, actualize those and develop those, and I want to attain the non-abiding nirvana of a Buddha. And what do I have to do this? And how can I do this? And is all this other stuff really so important? Yeah? Is it really so important? And one part of your mind screams, yes! because it's not fair. And then another part of your mind says, can you live with it not being fair? No! Well, wait a minute. Isn't karma fair? If you create the cause, you experience the result. Yeah, karma's fair. I believe in karma. Well, maybe you didn't create the cause to get your own private luxury deluxe room. You know? And maybe you created the cause to have boiled broccoli every day for lunch. Maybe you created the cause. Some people like boiled broccoli every day for lunch. I like it. Why didn't I create the karma to enjoy boiled broccoli for lunch? You know, why is my mind making such big deal about everything? Okay, so you do that for a while. Then you get really serious. Okay, I'm going to do this retreat properly. I'm meditating on refuge. There's the Buddha, surrounded by all these other Buddhas. And all these bodhisattvas. Oh, what color are their clothes? I can't see their clothes very well. What color are the Buddha's eyes? Do all the Buddha's eyes, all these Buddhas, do they all have the same eye color? I better concentrate more and get my visualization clearer. Okay, so those two have blue eyes, those two have brown eyes. That bodhisattva's wearing pink and chartreuse together. Who was their fashion designer? Okay, I better concentrate some more. And all the sentient beings around me. Okay, there's my mother. There's my father. Oh, they're on wrong sides. Mom, come over on this side. Dad, come over on this side. Okay, and all the people I don't like in front of me. Yeah, I can visualize them real clear. Got them clear. They're there. Okay, and everybody else as far as space is around me. Okay, down, it'll lead them all. Okay, everybody, we're gonna take refuge now. Come on, you gotta say it really with meaning. You gotta really mean you're taking refuge. Namo Guruvya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Oh, I'm getting it now. I'm getting some feeling. Namo Guruvya, Namo Buddhaya. Oh my God, I have lung. This was supposed to make me relaxed. I'm a nervous wreck. Okay, so then you go through that. You know, I've got to get serious. Okay, I've done 1,000 in 15 minutes. That's really good. Yeah. And then it's like at the end of the session, get me out of here. My mind is like, you know, it's like a gnarly old person that's just, you know, like ingrown toenails. I'm ingrown on myself, you know. I've gotten so expansive with all sentient beings that my concentration is like this. Okay? So, so just relax, okay? And keep trying. I mean, that's all we can do, isn't it? Is keep trying. What else are we going to do? Yeah, you can sit there and cry. Oh, I forgot. There's the person in the meditation who cries in the hall, who cries every session. Remember that? At first they're crying silently, you know, first session they're crying silently, and you think, Okay, good, they had some kind of, something came up, they're working it out, that's okay. Then the next day, they're still crying. Maybe I better pass them a note and see if they're okay. Then the third day is, shut up already. You've been crying for 3 days. Yeah, remember that person? Yeah? And then you don't know what to do because it's kind of a little abnormal for somebody to cry for 3 days straight every session. I mean, cry once in a while, that's okay, that can be good. You had some intense experience, that's fine. But every day, all session, yeah, what do I do? Do I write a note to the retreat manager? The last time I wrote a note to retreat manager, she said, don't write me any more notes. But, that was only my 935th note that I wrote her in the first week of the retreat, and she doesn't want any more notes. So do I write to the retreat manager? Do I go up and talk to that person? Do I go to Venerable Children? Yeah, what do I do? Do I go put my hand around that person? What happens if they bite me? Yeah. I mean, if somebody's crying all day, every day for 3 days, please say something to somebody. Yeah? Okay. So, yeah, and if you're the person who's crying all day, every day for 3 days, maybe save some other people worrying about you and come see me or, go play with the cats or, the cats are very good therapy. Yeah, I recommend them. Yeah. Okay, so now what else was I going to tell you? Okay, so we have a daily schedule. I'm sure none of you like it. That means you're normal. Yeah. That's what I tell people when they come here, that nobody likes the daily schedule. Everybody wants to change it. And so we're all in the same boat together, okay? And the schedule's not changing. Having said that, there will be enough variation from day to day and week to week that you will either love it or hate it, So some people will love the variation, some people will hate it. So on Tuesdays we have Jeffrey's talk in the morning, except for this Tuesday, coming Tuesday, he's not doing it. Thursday and Friday evenings we have teachings, that's a different schedule. Then on full and new moon days, we take precepts, yeah, and then we have posada. And then also the Sangha is starting Varsa, our annual retreat. That'll be next weekend, I believe. So that's going to influence the schedule because we have to do some extra ceremonies and things like that. Not the lay people, but the Sangha. So. Okay, then on February 8th, that's Chinese New Year, we're doing a puja, we're doing the Tara Puja for our supporters in Singapore who requested prayers. And then Frank had requested to take the Bodhisattva vows, so we'll do that on the same day. Nice way to start the new year, isn't it? Okay, then structuring your sessions and what to use on your session. So there's two sadhanas that got passed out. Yeah, so there's one that is the Georgia one. It says in the top instructions on the Ngondro practice of taking refuge, visualizing the refuge objects and taking refuge. So this is taken from the Georgia Puja. Okay. And so it describes the visualization of the Buddha in front with all the bodhisattvas, and so on. This is one illustration of it. The thing is that this illustration they aren't exactly the way this is seated, is because actually they're on one throne. Yeah, they're on one throne with a lotus on top of it. And instead of the Buddha on top, like that with them in cascading layers, the Buddha sits on another throne. There's a big throne. In the middle of that throne is another throne that's higher that the Buddha sits upon. Then you have the thrones for Maitreya and Manjushri and their lineage that are also on the big throne. And then you're another throne for your own teachers, and in back for the lamas with the blessing of the practice. So here, it's all put where like these lamas are put up in space, and all the other deities and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas looks like they're sitting below. It's more on a flat throne with them. But all their bodies are made of light, so you can just see all of them. The whole idea with visualization is get the feeling of being in the presence of holy beings. Really, worrying about are their eyes blue or brown, or, why does Chenrezig change clothes every day so that his celestial silks are a different color, and you get rid of that pink and chartreuse combination. Don't worry about those things. Just feel like you're in the presence of these holy beings who are your best friends. Yeah? Now, this sometimes can bring up authority issues for us. It's like, oh, here are all these Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Yeah, they're all Asian men. Where do I fit in? I'm a Westerner, or I'm a woman. What do I do? Oh, there's Tara, thank goodness. Okay, but she looks kind of Asian too. So don't worry about it, because that way of thinking, we're getting into thinking about religious institutions. Religious institutions are completely different from your refuge in the Buddha Dharma Sangha. Your refuge with the Buddha Dharma Sangha is a direct line. Okay? Religious institutions are created by human beings. Don't put all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and everybody into a religious institution that then you have to rebel against or question the rules about, or whatever your trip is with religious institutions. Yeah. But just see the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. These are your best friends in the world. Yeah? And then you think, well, why are they my best friends? And then compare, how the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha help you and guide you and what they teach you versus what we usually want from friends and what we usually get for friends. Because most of our friendships are based on attachment, aren't they? And then, of course, when there's attachment, then there's also going to be anger. But our relationship with the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha is different. The Buddha never gets mad at us. Wow, that's amazing. Somebody who doesn't get mad at me. Somebody who doesn't judge me. Somebody who's going to give me good advice, not all the confused advice that my usual friends give me. And, so really develop a relationship with the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Don't see them as like these beings out there that are separate from you, but they're really your best friends, And whenever you have a problem, whenever, you need friendship whenever you feel like nobody understands you. You visualize the refuge field. They all understand you. Yeah, none of them criticize and judge you. Yeah. They understand your highest goals. They understand what's really in your heart. Yeah, and they're going to encourage you in your Dharma practice. They're not going to say, oh, but you're such a talented ice skater, you should really go for the Olympic ice skating trophy. They're not going to say that to us. They're going to, encourage us in the Dharma. And they're going to do it in a nice, gentle way. So don't think of the Buddha sitting there, instead of sitting like this, he's sitting like this. You have to practice more. You're not keeping your precepts well enough. The Buddha's not sitting like that, looking at you like that. I say that because one time at one of our monastic gatherings, I was talking to a young Theravada monk. He hadn't been ordained very long, and his mind was like really tight. He asked to talk to me, and in talking, it came out. He said that he visualizes the Buddha as being very strange and calling him out for every mistake he makes and calling him out on being too lazy. And I said, if you see the Buddha like that, you're going to be miserable. The Buddha's your best friend. Yeah. And the Buddha knows what you're capable of doing now and what you're not capable of doing now. And the Buddha isn't sitting there like, a paternalistic father. Well, I guess a father is only paternalistic. But he's not sitting there like an authority figure. You lazy bum. I've been teaching you the Dharma for 3 years. And your meditation practice is still crummy. The Buddha's not looking at you like that. The Buddha sees that we all came with karma. We're all doing the best we can. The Buddha knows sometimes we need a nudge. Yeah. But he also knows that we don't need to be clobbered over the head. Yeah. So build a good relationship with the 3 jewels in your heart. Yeah, so that you can always rely on them. Okay, so there's the one practice there, which is, I'm not going to go into details, and tomorrow morning we'll have a Q&A. So you can ask questions about the visualization and so on if you want to at that point. There's that one. There's also the other one, that was sent out. It's the one. Taking Refuge. So it's an excerpt from Manjushi's Innermost Secret by Kachin Yeshe Gyaltsen, which is a commentary on the Lama Chöpa. So if you prefer to do this visualization, which also includes bodhicitta written up in it and the whole visualization it's described, please do that. If you're doing the Georgia one, you also do the, after you get done taking refuge, you can do the 4 immeasurables, the 7 limb prayer, the Buddha's mantra, and then do some Lam Rim, and then dedicate the merit, Or if you prefer the wording in this one, it's basically the same thing. This one just has a little bit more, in terms of the bodhicitta visualization. Then you can do this one, okay? There was another sheet that was sent out to you that was called, it says when taking refuge or doing the Refuge Ngondro, here are some of the things to contemplate and purify while visualizing the white light and nectar flowing into you. So part of what we're doing when we are doing the Refuge Intro is purifying any negative karma we've created with the Guru, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And then, so that's where we think of these things that we might have done in this life or in previous lives. If you haven't done them in this life, feel relieved. But then you may have seen other people do some of these negative actions and then think, I probably did them in my previous lives. If there's the seed in my mind that could ripen in me behaving like this again, I really want to purify that seed because I don't want to engage in those kind of actions. Yeah, so in this way we kind of look around, we learn from other people's behavior, and we're not being arrogant like, oh, well, you've done that negative action, but I haven't, but realizing we have the seeds in our mind, and so we purify that and make a strong determination not to do that ourselves. So that's when the white light comes. When the yellow light comes, then we're visualizing receiving all the blessings and inspiration. So that means that we think that like the good qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha are flowing into us and becoming stabilized. And so when you're visualizing that, then you try and feel, well, what would it be like to have the qualities of the Buddha? What would it be like to the Dharma to be my mind? What would it be like to have the qualities of the Sangha? Yeah, so you're imagining the future refuge that one day you're going to be. And this process of imagining is quite powerful because, if you can't imagine being something, you're never going to be able to become it. So, we imagine having these qualities, and then in the process of doing so, then we build up the potential to have them, and we encourage ourselves to do the specific Lama meditations that will lead us to have those qualities. Okay. In terms of how to do it, some people feel more comfortable first doing each refuge object separately. And I personally feel that's good. You focus on the Buddha, and do your 100,000 with Namo Buddhaya, then focus on the Dharma, do your 100,000, focus on your Sangha, like that. So if you do it like that, still each session you say a few with the whole formula, the 4-line formula, but you focus on one of them. Okay? So that way you still get all 4 in, even though you're focusing on one. If you want to, another way to do it is one session focus on refuge in the Buddha, second session refuge in the Dharma, third session refuge in the Sangha. Now, somebody's going to say, what about refuge in the Guru? It's at the top, I think sometimes that it's depending on you. Some people are more, are older in the practice. Some people are younger. So some people may prefer to put the Guru first and do the refuge in the Guru first. Some people who are younger in the practice may prefer to do refuge in the Guru and put it after refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha when you're accumulating your 100,000. The reason for this, I think, is because the deeper you get into the Dharma, the more confidence you have in the Guru. Yeah. Whereas when you're newer, you don't necessarily have that same amount of confidence. Okay, but it's up to you how you want to do it. People who already are doing the 6-session Guru Yoga practice, if you want to do your Refuge Ngondro with your 6th session, that's fine. Just do the refuge visualization and stop there, and basically you can put in Kachaneshi Gyaltsen's visualization for that whole part, and then continue with the rest of the 6th session at the end after you do that. It's good to include some Lama meditation in every session, because as you do the Lam Rim, it really deepens your refuge. in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha because you're developing convictional faith. In other words, faith based on knowledge and faith based on understanding. In the break time between sessions, study about refuge. We have a lot of materials that are available, things that you can watch online. Do not use email during the retreat. Okay, it will ruin your retreat. So, I'm not saying this like you're breaking the rules of the retreat, but it's going to ruin your own retreat if you do that. Okay? One example. We'll give you an example. So we're doing retreat, no use of the telephone, so it's comparable, no use of your email. So one young woman decided that she was going to check her voicemail. Wasn't that it? So she went and checked her voicemail, and she found out that the married man that she was having an affair with was now with somebody else, or was breaking up with her, or something else like that. So that caused a little bit of turmoil in her mind. Yeah. I'm not sure why having an affair with a married man didn't, well, I know why it didn't cause turmoil in your mind, because attachment rules everything. Okay, but then when the object of attachment isn't yours anymore, so don't check email. Yeah, especially if you're having a relationship with a married person. But really, for any other reason, just don't do it. Let yourself have a peaceful retreat. Yeah, and everybody else, believe it or not, they can live without you. Yeah, I know that's very disappointing. Yeah, but someday we're all going to die, and they're going to have to live without us, and the world will go on without us. Yeah, and if you have a problem, not communicating, what I did when I used to retreat in India is I wrote out a bunch of letters. I gave them to the retreat manager. She mailed the letter once a month to my parents. That was good enough. And I didn't have to write any letters during the retreat. But, what do you say? Everything's fine. The weather is foggy. Yeah, we're having a good time. I'm with a wonderful group of people. That's all your family wants to know. Yeah, they don't want to know all the details. Yeah. Oh, today we had variety. We had steamed Brussels sprouts for lunch. We had potatoes again. Oh, more potatoes. God, this cook really likes potatoes. Your family doesn't really, they don't need that level of detail about how you are. So if you have a problem, write some things out, give them to the Dharma, the retreat manager. She can mail them when appropriate. But give yourself a break. And really, your family will do okay. We do have a telephone line so that if all hell breaks loose, and there's an emergency, they can contact and we'll let you know. But, people get along very well without us. Like I said, I know it's terribly disappointing. But they do. Also, for doing your studies, really, focus on studying about refuge and focus on the Lamrim. And pick a few books and really read those. Read them slowly. You don't have to read everything quickly and get a lot of information. And don't start reading, I think this is perfect time. I've always wanted to read about Dzogchen. Let's read about Dzogchen. Then, Mahamudra. Let's read about Mahamudra. Then, I've heard about people doing dark retreats. Let's read about that. And then, what else is there? The history of the Dalai Lamas. Let's read about them. And so you're reading about all sorts of different things that don't necessarily apply to your meditation, yeah, and getting yourself good and confused because, different books are coming at things with different angles. So maybe stick to a few books if you're in doubt what to read, or if you want, someone here to kind of okay and give you some advice about it, then, please, you can talk to any of us and we'll help you with that. Okay? Good.